She's left with the ghost of your presence. The emptiness you've left behind reverberates louder than any words ever could. You've left a hole in her life, a space that was once filled with your attention, your presence, your love. But now it's nothing but a gaping void. She can try to fill it with distractions, with other people, but deep down, she knows it'll never be the same. She doesn't miss you. She misses the version of herself that was attached to your energy. She doesn't realize it now, but her desperation isn't because she misses you, not in the way she once thought she would. It's because she misses the comfort she had when she knew you would always be there, when you were still giving, when your presence was always on standby, waiting to catch her when she fell. But now, that constant, ever-present support is gone. And it's not just that you're absent in body, it's that you've taken your emotional and mental investment elsewhere. And she's left in the wreckage of her own indecision. And now that you've pulled back, truly pulled away from the dynamic, she's confronted with a truth she didn't want to face. You were never going to chase her forever. You were never going to keep waiting for the scraps of her attention. You've had enough. You don't realize what you have until it's gone, and by then it's too late. She didn't realize how much you gave her until you stopped. How many times did you wait for a text, only to get nothing back? How many times did you check your phone at 2 a.m., hoping for a reply, hoping for something, anything, that would make you feel seen, feel appreciated? How many times did you try to smooth over the gaps, the inconsistencies, the emotional neglect? But now that you've stopped playing that game, now that you've stopped reacting and bending over backward, the silence has hit her like a wrecking ball. It's hard, brutal, and painful, and it's her reality now. And you know what? You're not angry, you're not bitter, you're not vengeful. You've simply detached, and that's more powerful than anything else. The hardest part of healing is realizing that it was never meant to work with someone who could never love you the way you deserved. You didn't disappear in a fit of rage or out of a need for revenge. You didn't storm out in a dramatic display of pain. You didn't cry for closure. You quietly chose to walk away. You chose to stop participating in a relationship where your love was not reciprocated. You realized that no matter how much you gave, you were never going to get back what you needed from her. And that realization, that painful, sobering clarity, was enough to make you stop. She's not mad at you. She's mad at herself. And the truth is, the longer she tries to understand it, the more it eats her up inside. You stopped giving, and now she realizes that she's the one who pushed you away, the one who took you for granted, the one who never appreciated your emotional depth. And now, as you step away from her, as you build yourself up and focus on what truly matters to you, your growth, your peace, your boundaries, she's forced to feel the weight of the choices she made. And that weight, it's suffocating, it's crushing. You don't realize what you've lost until you see it with someone else. And she will. She will see someone else eventually, someone who gives her the attention she thought she wanted. But it won't be the same. She will compare every new man to you, and no matter how hard she tries, they won't measure up. Because they can't. The emotional depth, the calm, the unwavering support you gave her, those are qualities that don't exist in most men, and she will feel that loss every time she's with someone new. She'll realize too late that what you gave her was rare. What you were offering her was irreplaceable. The cruelest part of this is that she thought you'd always be there. She thought she could push you to the side and you would always come crawling back, hoping she'd finally wake up, hoping she'd finally see you for the man you were. But the truth is, you grew, you evolved, you became someone she couldn't reach anymore. The moment you realize your own worth is the moment everything changes. And that's what happened. You realized your own worth. You recognized that you deserved more than what she was giving you. You stopped chasing validation from someone who didn't even understand the magnitude of your love, of your attention. You stopped chasing someone who kept you in the shadows of her life, who only gave you the scraps of her time when it was convenient for her. And in that moment, in that quiet decision to stop giving, you became a version of yourself that was unshakable. And she doesn't know how to deal with it. She doesn't know how to reconcile the man you've become with the man she used to know. And now she's questioning everything. She's questioning her own worth. She's questioning why she didn't value you when she had the chance. And the truth is, she'll never have those answers. There's no closure for her. There's no magic conversation that will bring you back. There's no dramatic apology that will heal the wounds she caused. She pushed you away, and now you're gone. Not physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. People don't miss you until they see that you've stopped missing them. And now she realizes that you don't need her anymore. She realized it the moment she saw your absence. You're no longer looking for her approval. You no longer care if she replies to your messages. You're no longer living in the shadow of her emotional game. You've moved on, and she's left behind trying to catch up. And that silence, it's not just an absence of sound. It's a statement. It's a reminder. It's a cruel twist of fate that every time she checks her phone and doesn't see a message from you, every time she scrolls through her feed and doesn't see your name, she feels it. That silence is her realization that you no longer care. And it cuts deeper than any words ever could. The most painful goodbyes are the ones that are never said and never explained, because you didn't need to say goodbye. You didn't need to explain anything. You just stopped participating, and that's what kills her. That's what haunts her, because she can't understand it. She doesn't understand why you stopped. She doesn't get why you just gave up. But the truth, you didn't give up. You gave her everything you had, and she never appreciated it until it was too late. She'll search for answers in every corner of her life, but the truth is, the only answer is you stopped giving. And that's what she'll never be able to accept. That you gave up on her, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. You knew your worth, and you walked away. When you finally stop chasing someone who can't give you what you need, you free yourself to find what you truly deserve. And that's exactly what you did. You stopped chasing. You stopped begging for her attention, for her love, for her validation. And in that moment, you started chasing something far more valuable. Your own peace. You grew, you evolved, you shed the parts of yourself that were entangled in the false hope of her affection. You stopped relying on someone who couldn't or wouldn't reciprocate. You stopped waiting for scraps, stopped expecting to be seen, to be heard, to be valued. The truth sank in deep. She was never going to give you what you needed. And no matter how much you gave, no matter how much you bent yourself into someone you thought she could love, it was never going to be enough for her. You detached not out of malice, not because you wanted to destroy her, but because you realized that continuing to give, continuing to sacrifice your own peace, was a slow form of self-destruction. It was about survival. You chose yourself because you had no other choice. If you stayed, you'd wither away. If you stayed, you'd lose yourself completely. The hardest part wasn't just walking away, though. The hardest part was realizing that she was never going to care enough to fight for you. You saw the signs, felt the emptiness in the spaces between her words, in the hollow actions that followed her promises. You saw how much of your emotional energy you'd spent trying to fill that void she created with her indifference. And you knew, deep down, that this wasn't love. It was a one-sided transaction. And now that you've stepped back, now that you've removed yourself from her orbit, she's left to grapple with the harsh truth of your absence. She's left with the cold, suffocating silence that once felt like comfort, but now feels like an unbearable weight pressing down on her chest. Every empty space, every unanswered call, every ignored message, it all adds up to one unshakable fact. You were the best thing she ever had, and she lost you. That silence you've left in your wake. It's louder than any argument, louder than any apology. It cuts deeper than anything she could have said to keep you. It's a reminder of the consequences of her apathy, of her inability to see what was right in front of her. She can try to fill that silence with distractions, with meaningless conversations, with empty relationships, but none of it will matter, because she knows deep down that no one will ever make her feel the way you did. No one will ever offer her the same level of emotional investment, the same depth of care, the same level of understanding. You gave her a part of you that she took for granted, and now that part is gone. The hardest truth for her to swallow is this: you stopped needing her. You stopped waiting for her validation. You stopped making excuses for her neglect. You stopped believing that things would change. And now you're moving on, and she's stuck in the aftermath of her own choices. Now, as the days stretch into weeks, and the weeks stretch into months, she's left with only the echo of your absence, reverberating through her mind, her heart, her soul. She'll replay the moments, replay the chances she had to make it right, and she'll realize, too late, that you were her one shot at something real. And she blew it. She'll see you moving forward, building yourself up, thriving without her, and it will crush her. Because she'll understand finally that you were never coming back. You've found peace without her. You've found a strength she didn't believe was possible for you to have. You've found the ability to live without the constant ache of wondering if you're enough. But her, she's left to live with the haunting realization that she's the reason for your absence, the reason you walked away. She'll wonder if you ever really loved her at all, or if you just loved an idea of her that she could never live up to. She'll question her worth, question why she couldn't see you for the incredible person you were, why she couldn't match your effort, your devotion. She'll beg herself to understand how she could let the best thing that ever happened to her slip away so easily, so carelessly. But there's no answer. The answer is silence. The answer is that you were always giving, always compromising, always putting her first, and when you stopped, she was left with nothing. She'll see you in the lives of other people, in their conversations, in their fleeting moments of attention. She'll see you glowing, not because you're pretending, but because you finally found your light again, away from her, away from the darkness she kept you in. And that light? It's brighter than anything she ever gave you, and it's no longer hers to touch. So now she has to live with it. She has to live with the fact that she pushed you to the edge, that she neglected a love so pure, so real, that even she didn't understand its depth until it was gone. She has to live with the fact that when you were by her side, she took your heart for granted, thinking it would always be there to pick up the pieces, always there to catch her when she fell. But it wasn't. You were the rock. But even rocks erode when they're constantly battered by neglect. Now she's alone, and that emptiness, it's suffocating. She's walking through life with a weight on her chest, dragging the remnants of a relationship she let slip through her fingers. She can't go back. She can't undo the choices she made. She can't get you back. And that realization, it's the worst part, because while you're healing, while you're rebuilding, while you're moving forward, she's stuck in the wreckage of her own inaction, her own fear, and her own mistakes. And that's the hardest pill for her to swallow, because it's a truth she can't escape. You're gone. And now she has to live with it. The consequences of losing the one person who would have loved her unconditionally.